Hello, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a data engineer, and I'm here today to show you Saturn Cloud. Now, Saturn Cloud, to give you a little background, is a distributed Dask cluster that's been set up as software as a service so that you can run code without having to deal with Docker images, without having to spin up your own Jupyter Notebook session, without having to manage a Dask cluster, and without all the nitty gritty details that you would normally need to do to run data science. Now, as a data engineer, I relish in doing the Docker images and DevOps, but for data scientists, and I wear the data scientist hat occasionally. Data scientists hate doing Docker images. Well, I shouldn't say hate. I guess that's a strong word. What I mean to say here is that Docker or data scientists don't concern themselves with Docker images because data scientists want to get to the crux and the heart of a business value objective. They want to build code, and they don't want to build code because it's fancy. They want to build code that works and gives meaning to a business problem. And that's what this does. It takes away a lot of the data engineering to set up a data science platform for you. Now, there are a lot of other things on the market that do this sort of thing for you. There are lots of SaaS service solutions for big data projects. But this is the only one that does everything in Python. And I love Python. And as a data scientist, most data scientists are using Python. No, and something that always frustrated me about other big data platforming tools is that you would have to switch languages to try and get meaningful data out of your environment. You could set up some ETL tool that pulls data out, extracts, and then finally, when you want to do some big transformations, you realize, well, I'm limited because Python only has a 4 gigabyte limit, and in the interactive tool, and I don't want to have to learn Scala or I don't want to have to learn an API the Python layer that doesn't exactly fit one-to-one with the Scala layer. So I either miss out on some key features or I learn or I learn Scala, and no data scientist wants to learn Scala. It's got typing. It's not dynamically typed. It's statically. Well, it is dynamically typed, but it's not as clean as Python code is. Or yeah, it can be very difficult. So here we are, Saturn Cloud. This is the server. This is the Jupyter Notebook server. I've already spun one up, but if you wanted to create a new one, you would create a new one by doing, let's say, all right, Kieran's Jupyter Notebook notes. 10 seems a little small. I'm gonna go with 256 gigs. Medium seems okay, but I really want 16 gigs of RAM. I know my machine learning model is probably going to take a little while, so 24 hours. And then I'd really like the latest version because that's what I'm about. And then after this, I'd click here, create. Now, for this demo, I'm going to keep this one up and running because I like this one. I don't need that much for this demo, so that's okay. Next, we're going to look at images. Docker images here are just the standard Docker images that comes default on Saturn. You'll have your latest, and then you'll have your latest GPU version. Now, you can add your own images of Docker that you want to bring in. So let's say if you wanted to bring in a Kafka Docker image, or if you wanted to bring in a certain version of Pandas that you really like. I know that 1.0.0 just released, but let's say that you wanted to bring in 0.25.1 because you really like that one. Then great, you can just write in here Pandas 0.25.0.1. You would do this, you would do this, and you would add your image by clicking save. Now, I'm not going to go into credentials, but credentials has your public SSH key for your Git repo, so you can actually pair this with your Git repo and save your code off. And I'll go into Dask in more detail in a moment, but this is your actual Dask cluster. Now, your Dask cluster, I've set this up already because I wanted to make sure that it was running. It takes a little while for these things to spin up. Usually that's when I go get a cup of coffee, have a chat with some friends, come back before I start my day's routine. If I'm going to be an ML data scientist today. But this is what you'll see once it's spun up. You'll see the schedule URL and the dashboard URL. You can click this and go and look at your actual your cluster, and you can say, my workers, I think my workers' CPU usage is high. Well, you can actually see that right here in real time, by the way. You can see the CPU changing, how many bytes are being read and written, and what percentage of the memory is being used. Now, of course, nothing's being written right now because I'm not doing anything. You can see that from here and there, your graph, and your tasks. I have no tasks up, so it's good that I don't have anything running because I haven't run anything. But in a moment, we will run stuff, and you'll be able to see changes. So if I go into Jupyter, and I go to the Jupyter Notebook, I can open this up, and you can see already that Saturn has provided a Jupyter Cloud space for me to be able to use Saturn. So I can go inside my test example, and I can run my connect code, and it connects to the cluster. So I can say, oh, look at that. It did connect. So I can see 2 workers, 2 cores, and 7 gigs. Excellent. And then you can run as normal Python code, just straight up. That's what makes this so great, is that there's no manual setup of, I need to set up a Jupyter notebook on a cluster, and then I need to set up a Docker image with Kafka, or I need to set up a Docker image with Dask in it. It's all there for you, ready to use. That's it. That's all I have to show you guys today, but I would love to show you more about the machine learning aspects of Dask and how this will continue to evolve. I'm really excited to see what other features they're going to add here. One feature that I did see that I kind of want to point out is not your gallery, but you can see here your admin and your anon links, and you can actually you can add users to come look at your Dask cluster notebooks, which is really cool. But yeah, that should wrap up everything from me today. I hope you guys learned some cool stuff about building, about starting servers, creating your own Jupyter server, creating your own Dask server, and then being able to run your own code. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.